I used to be invisible. The old man everyone ignored, the one kids laughed at, the one neighbors called creepy. But when they scanned the sweetest woman on our street and left her in tears, something inside me snapped. They thought I was just a retired nobody. They didn't know I used to ruin people for a living. By the time they realized who I really was, it was already too late. If you've ever been underestimated, if someone ever treated you like you didn't matter, this story's for you. Hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll ever hear. Because sometimes, justice doesn't come from the police. It comes from the man no one sees. I'm Edward Lane. 62. Retired. I live alone in a small suburban neighborhood, the kind of place where everyone smiles, but no one really sees you. Most days, I'd tend to my garden, feed the birds, read the paper. People saw me as harmless, quiet, polite, maybe even a little odd. They didn't know that before retirement, I worked in intelligence. 30 years of surveillance, cyber operations, psychological profiling. I've seen the best and worst of humanity, and I've dismantled both. But after my wife died, I hung it all up. All I wanted was peace. Then the Millers moved in next door. Mark and J.E. Psycha Miller, mid-30s, social media influencers, all flash, no substance. They filmed everything, their breakfasts, their arguments, their dog. They mocked everyone, especially me. "Look, it's our neighborhood spy," they'd laugh when I walked by. Once, they even filmed me trimming my hedges and posted it with the caption, "When the CIA retires next door." I pretended not to care. But deep down, it stung. Because I was that man once. And being reduced to a joke, it hurt more than I'd like to admit. Still, I let it slide. You learn, over time, that not every insult deserves a war. Until they crossed a line. Across from me lived Mrs. Patterson. 80 years old, soft-spoken, heart of gold. She reminded me of my wife, gentle, trusting, the kind of person who'd bake pies for the whole street. One afternoon, I saw the Millers leaving her house. They were all smiles, waving papers in their hands. Something didn't sit right. That evening, Mrs. Patterson came to me, trembling.
Edward, they said they could help me invest. They said it was safe.
Her savings, gone. Every penny she had. She cried like a child that night. And I sat there, gripping my teacup so hard my hand shook. You know that burning behind your ribs, that mix of anger and disbelief? That's what I felt. Because I'd seen predators like the Millers before, just in different suits. That night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at my old service medals, my dusty laptop, my tools, relics of a past I'd buried. My rational side said, let it go. Call the police. But the other voice, the one I hadn't heard in years, whispered. You know how to deal with people like them. It wasn't rage. Not yet. It was calculation. Cold, methodical, deliberate. Something in me woke up, the part that doesn't get angry, it gets even. For the next 2 weeks, I observed. From the outside, I looked like a lonely old man watering his lawn. But behind my blinds, I was documenting everything. Their routines. Their online activity. Their late-night phone calls. They had 3 side hustles, all scams. Fake charities, crypto frauds, identity theft. Their greed was sloppy. Their arrogance limitless. I installed a small Wi-Fi bridge, nothing fancy. Within hours, I was inside their devices. I saw every text, every transaction, every smug message about fooling the old bat next door. I'd seen monsters before, but seeing them type, "She'll be dead soon anyway," that's when I decided. They wouldn't just pay. They'd learn.
I'd seen monsters before, but seeing them type, "She'll be dead soon anyway." Well, yeah, that's when I decided. They wouldn't just pay. They'd learn.
It started subtle. Their smart doorbell would glitch. Their Wi-Fi would crash every night at 2:13 a.m. Their phones would call each other while they slept. Then came the emails. Clients got messages exposing their charity scams, with screenshots. Their bank accounts began showing random withdrawals, followed by reversals that made no sense. Jessica's influencer page got hacked, every post replaced with photos of the people they'd scammed. Mark's business partner received a confession video that looked eerily real. Panic set in. They started fighting, screaming, accusing each other. Jessica cried on her porch, begging someone to make it stop. Mark smashed his laptop against the wall. From my living room, I watched. Calm. Silent. Every click, every keystroke, another stitch in the web they'd woven for themselves. And the beauty of it? I never had to touch them. They destroyed each other. It didn't take long. Anonymous reports flooded the authorities, with evidence pointing straight to them. Tax fraud, identity theft, wire scams, all linked, all traceable. One morning, I watched as the police arrived. Mark was shouting, "We've been hacked. It's a setup." Jessica sobbed, "Please, we didn't mean to hurt anyone." But it was too late. Everything they'd built on lies crumbled, right there, on the front lawn. Mrs. Patterson watched too, clutching her shawl. She didn't know how justice found her. Only that it had. A few days later, she came by with a pie. "Edward," she said, "someone refunded my account. Every penny's back. Can you believe it?" I smiled. Sometimes, good people get what they deserve.
"Edward, someone refunded my account. Every penny's back."
Sometimes, good people get what they deserve.
When she left, I sat by my window, watching the now empty house next door. No laughter. No music. Just quiet, the kind of quiet I used to crave. But this time, it wasn't lonely. It was peace. Earned peace. You know, people think revenge is about anger. But it's not. It's about balance. They took advantage of kindness, and I gave them a mirror to see what they really were. Sometimes, justice doesn't need noise. Sometimes, it comes quietly, from the neighbor you never noticed. So next time you see an old man sitting alone, remember, silence doesn't mean weakness. It might just mean patience. Their faces when the police cars pulled up, priceless. The confusion. The denial. Mark screaming, "You can't prove anything." Jessica shaking, makeup running down her face, begging for mercy online. And me? Sitting by my window, tea in hand. My heart didn't race. It slowed down. Like a man who'd finally closed a chapter he never wanted to reopen. You don't always get to choose your battles. But you can choose when they end. Revenge didn't make me happy, it made things right. And in a world that laughs at kindness, sometimes, that's enough. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button, and tell me in the comments. Have you ever seen someone get the justice they deserved? Subscribe for more stories like this, real, raw, and unforgettable. Because remember, Eve, and the quietest person you know might have a past you don't want to meet.